Ferdinand Magellan had discovered the Philippine archipelago in 1521. No European settlements had been made there. The Viceroy of New Spain sent Legazpi to claim the Philippine archipelago in 1564. He left Acapulco with 5 ships and reached Cebu, one of the southern islands of the archipelago. In April 1565, the first Spanish settlement resided in Cebu City. The Spaniards in 1565 noted the intense commercial activities of the Borneans. Legazpi reported that vessels from Luzon traded in Mindanao. The royal families of Brunei and Manila are engaged in commerce. At first, Spaniards called the Bornean traders Moros, since the Spaniards recognized Muslim practices among the inhabitants of the Philippines. The Spanish Philippines not only to exceed the imperial domains in the economic interests of their king but also to introduce Catholicism. In time, the Christianized inhabitants who abandoned Islamic practices were designated as Indios by the Spaniards. The Moros, however, called Islam or Muslim. They tended to call all Spaniards Castillians. The Spaniards referred to the non-inhabitants of the Philippines as Indios, a term that sooner or later came to designate the dominated and Christianized population. From the onset until the last decade of the presence of the Spanish missionaries, they were not able to know the true nature of Islam. As for the Spaniards, they felt that Christianity was the only way for a man to be saved. According to the Spanish priest, Juan Reichert, Muslims can be converted to Christianity and Islam is not a challenge, but it is the sultans and panditas who are worried about losing their authority and control over their lands and slaves. They care about preserving their ideologies and would resist changing. Reichert viewed Islam as superficial or one-dimensional as it opposes the laws and their religion. To demonstrate the colonization of Spaniards, the only way for the Muslims to absorb the Spanish colonial rule is to convert to Catholicism and to become an Indio. It is said that other Filipinos from the other islands were easily transformed, and Spaniards believe that this is the way to persuade Muslims to become loyal subjects of Spain. The royal families of Manila and Sulu were related to that of Brunei. The people of Brunei saw the coming of the Spaniards as an intrusion into their commercial activities and a threat to their expansion of political influence. Furthermore, their rival Catholic state, Spain, swore to extirpate the Muslim faith. The Spaniards singled out the Muslims in the Philippines and the Borneans as objects of their hatred and antipathy. In 1565, the Spanish king gave permission to make Moros slaves and seized their properties. In 1578, the Spanish Governor-General Sandy wrote to the Bornean Sultancy for a ritual. Further, I desire that you shall send no preachers of the sect of Mahoma. The doctrine Mahoma is false and evil law, and the religion of the Christians alone is true, holy and good. The Muslims counterattacks the letter stating, we declare that the law of Christian is evil, and our own is good. The Jesuit objected to the Sultan's view and insisted that only Christians could be saved. In 1628, the Spanish soldiers voyaged to Sulu and destroyed the tomb and grave of one of the first Muslim missionaries to Sulu. The Spanish soldiers dug in the hope of finding valuables. However, Muslims do not practice leaving valuables to the corpse. In 1637, the governor Sebastian Hurtado de Corcuera sent expeditions in Sulu, Mindanao against Sultan Kudarat and Raja Bongsu, wherein copies of Quran were destroyed. Islam, the elements which formed a sort of identity and nationalism among the Muslims. The coming to the Muslim lands of the Philippines of the Arabs elicited an outburst of religious feeling. The Muslims maintained spiritual links with neighboring Muslim states. The existing Muslim power lends them material help. The sense of belonging to a wider community of Islam persisted. Despite the strong influence and dominance of the Spaniards throughout the whole archipelago, they struggled to establish their political foundation in Mindanao, as Islam had maintained its faith and continued to defy against the people who are trying to transform them into subjects of the Spanish rule.